Sairam, I offer my prayerful pranams at Bhagwan's divine lotus feet. We will commence the workshop, the inaugural session of the workshop, with the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. The lighting of the ceremonial lamp will be accompanied by Vedic invocation. I now request our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor B. Raghavendra Prasad, the Dean of Sciences and President of the Institute's Innovation Council, Professor Pallav Kumar Barua, our guests of honor, Shri C.N. Ram and Shri Debashish Chakraborty, and also Director of our campus, Shri B. Venkatramana, to please come forward to light the ceremonial lamp.
श्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृता सम्बभूव समिन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासम् शरीरं मे विचर्षणम् जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमाम् कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवम् ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पीतः श्रुतं मे गोपाय मेधा देवी जुषमाना न आगा विश्वाची भद्रा सुमनस्यमाना त्वया जुष्टानुदमाना दुरुक्ता बृहद्वदेम विदते सुवीराः त्वया जुष्टऋषिर्भवति देवि त्वया ब्रह्मा गतश्रीरुतत्वया त्वया जुष्टश्चित्रं विन्दते वसुसानो जुषस्वद्रविणो न मेधे मेधां महीन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विना हुवा बाधत्तां पुष्करस्रजा अप्सरासु चया मेधा गन्धर्वेषु चयन्मनः दैवी मेधा सरस्वती सा मां मेधा सुरभिर्विशतागु स्वाहा आमां मेधा सुरभिर्विश्वरूपा हिरण्यवर्णा जगती जगम्या ऊर्जस्वती पयसा पिन्वमाना सा मां मेधा सुरतीकाजुषन्तां मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मयि अग्निस्तेजो ददातु मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मयि इन्द्र इन्द्रियं ददातु मयि मेधां मयि प्रजां मयि सूर्यो भ्राजो ददातु हंस हंसाय विद्महे परमहंसाय धीमहि तन्नो हंसः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति
Once again, I have the pleasure to welcome everybody to this unique workshop on entrepreneurial development titled iCube. iCube in terms of inception, imagination, and innovation. We are very thankful to the respected Vice Chancellor, to the Dean of Sciences and President of the Institute's Innovation Council, and our guests of honor, Shri C.N. Ram and Shri Debashish Chakraborty, to have graced the occasion and to have taken off their time to be part of this inaugural session. When we talk of entrepreneurship, several facets of the business and several aspects of an individual's personality come together to form a beautiful, a wonderful picture of achievement, of solid courage, persistence, and finally, success. Entrepreneurship is no easy game. Years back, when the Department of Management was started in Prashantinilayam campus in 1986, Swami had, as the founder Chancellor, inaugurated the Masters in Business Administration course, MBA, in Prashantinilayam campus. Swami made it very clear to both the students and the faculty that this program will be unique. Unique in the sense the students will learn more of man management. Swami also set the goals for the students, and one of the goals that he emphasized quite a lot was that the students, after completing their management course, the MBA course, should be job creators and not just job seekers. This was way back, almost 30 years back. Be job creators and not job seekers. He also emphasized that these jobs must be created in such a way that it is useful for society, and these jobs are created in the rural areas, the rural hinterland. The message that was given then continues to be valid, not just today, but it will continue its relevance for years to come. When we talk of entrepreneurship, the way that it was designed to be, and it gives maximum benefit, everybody starts small. This was what Bhagawan also mentioned. It's available in the book Man Management. He says, when you start off, start small. Have a small investment. And then looking at the circumstances, looking at the business environment, expand. That's what we see today. The startups, they start small and gradually, over a period of time, expand to become multinationals. India today is proudly hosting the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. We have maybe over a lakh startups, more than a lakh of startups in the country today. And also, more than 100, I believe the number is about 113, 114 unicorns valued over $1 billion. Entrepreneurship in India has always been part of the business ecosystem, be it in the late 19th century, in 1868, when Jamshedji Nuzarwanji Tata started the now transnational, multinational conglomerate, which we all know of, Tata Sons, which is worth so many billions of dollars. Till date, you have young minds, young students from different institutions from across the country putting their brilliant ideas to work and aiming to achieve what has not been achieved. So it's nothing new to our Indian business ecosystem. But then, what does it require? I would like to link this up with what our revered founder, Chancellor Bhagawan Baba himself mentioned on several occasions during his talks with the students, and of course, in his general discourses. He would talk of 3 P's: purity, patience, and perseverance. If you are a young entrepreneur, just taking the first steps towards making your ideas work with your startup, the first and foremost is purity of intention, purity of purpose, in the sense your goals, intention, the idea, it must be very clear, clarity of purpose, and the purpose must be for the benefit of the society, wherein we try to fill a gap where if you offer the goods or services that you propose to, it will help the society at large. But intentions may be good. We may have a pure commitment to do the better for society. But does it all end here? It takes lots of effort, lots of years of effort to grow big and really make it in the market with a good brand name. They say that the path to success is paved with several stepping stones of failures. These stepping stones, called failures, increase in us the patience wait till the goal is achieved. It's not just patience. That patience must be accompanied by the third P, which is perseverance. It's not for the meek-minded. It's not for the people who are struck by fear to achieve success. Fearlessness and courage. These qualities come up when we have perseverance, when we again and again and again, without losing faith, without losing sight of the goal, try and try and try. As a former chairperson of Intel, Andy Grove, he says, only the paranoid can achieve success. Literally going after the goal with a lot of determination and patience. In today's world, we do look at and hear lots of success stories. But behind all these success stories, the continuous effort, the unrelenting, the relentless patience and perseverance, the tireless journey that several of these entrepreneurs have taken is a reminder to all of us that personal strength, personal morality play a very important role, not just for our individual personal success in life, but also for success in business. We are very fortunate today that we have with us, and also in the following sessions, we'll have many more of such luminaries in the world of entrepreneurship. They will be talking to us and sharing their knowledge and experiences. Let us all be thankful and grateful to them and learn from their wisdom. Once again, I welcome everybody here to the workshop on entrepreneurship, iCube, Inception, innovation and imagination. Now it's my pleasant duty to welcome our revered Vice Chancellor, Professor B. Raghavendra Prasad, to deliver the inaugural address. We have seen Sir many times in our campus, so we are very happy to have you here once again. A brief introduction about our respected Vice Chancellor, Sir. Professor Raghavendra Prasad assumed charge as the 12th Vice Chancellor of our institute on the 1st of June 2023. He's been a distinguished alumnus of our institute. After completing his Masters in Science in 1985, the year after that, he went on to join the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, where he headed several projects, important projects in the area of national defense, post which Sir joined the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. At the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Sir held the chairmanship of several committees and also was in charge of several important projects. Among them, Sir set up the Professor M.G.K. Menon Laboratory for Space Sciences to design, build, test, and calibrate space-based autonomy platforms, and was also a lead member of the UVIT Astrosat mission of the ISRO. Most importantly, Sir was the principal investigator of VELC Aditya L1 solar mission of the ISRO, which we were all fortunate to witness the takeoff of the Aditya mission on the 2nd of September 2023. And recently on January 6th, the Aditya mission achieved the halo orbit insertion, which is positioning the VLC payload. Sir was in fact the principal investigator for this, and we as an institute are proud that Sir was part of this mission, leading this mission. Sir was also a member of several research and scientific committees at the Institute of Astrophysics. Sir has been a member of the Institute Alumni Group and has been leading from the front several initiatives of the Alumni Group for the past 35 years and more. Sir also has interest in the area of sustainable energy technologies and environment, and has participated in many such projects of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. Now it's my pleasure to invite Sir to deliver the inaugural address. Saram, sir.
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of our revered founder Chancellor. In fact, today, actually, it's a very nice day, because when I see this I3, I don't know which combination it is, but I know we have the right combination of people here to take care of this workshop, the entire workshop. That is something which is highly innovative of the organizers. They really got very eminent people to run this show, to interact with all of you, who have achieved, and you can find, they mean what they say. They also will walk the path with you, with the young minds. I'm very happy to have, a good friend, C.N. Ram, and, another achiever, Debashish, and of course, our most energetic dean, and ever, pushy, and ever, always thinking about how to deliver and how to progress, and how to ensure students are happy and students do get what they need. Professor Pallav Barwa, he's so pushy that he pushes me also around quite a bit. I don't mind that, okay? And I've seen him really, I mean it actually, the kind of commitment and passion, the dedication, what, my good colleague said here, purity and patience and perseverance. And he does all of that with a lot of energy. It is not a passive way, but in a very active manner and in a very dynamic way. So we have a lot of things to learn from such people over here. And of course, your teachers, your wardens, all of them, Their singular purpose is to ensure that every one of you is successful in your careers. Careers in the sense either as a job givers, typically job givers is what Swami wants all of us to be. See, these new terms what we use these days, entrepreneurships, innovation, all these things are, somewhere or other ingrained in our, very existence, right? If we have survived for so many millions of years, it means that every one of us know how to innovate to survive, isn't it? I mean, otherwise you won't be surviving, right? I mean, in spite of whatever the hardships that nature takes you through, the mankind has always found a way to maneuver through that and to survive. I mean, this is again, innovation is somewhere, it is ingrained in every one of us, okay? And this particular workshop is to show that every one of you is a great innovator. Okay, basically they're trying to say that, look, you have that in you. Okay, see, for example, I mean, I'm just saying that the very education system here in Swami's institutions, we are really blessed. What we call as integral education system is the very, living over here. It's ingrained in every one of us in all aspects of life over here. When I passed out way back in 1985, I was very, very, diffident at some point of time when I moved into IISc, because IISc was a name which was such a big, and I just walked in over there. I'm just sharing this example with you as how this place makes a difference for every one of you. I mean, possibly because I was one of the very old, maybe the senior most over here, and gone through this rigor and, traveled through this path. Not as an entrepreneur, certainly as an innovator. I can assure you on that. I went into a very familiar name over there, Laser Laboratory, which was of course the only familiar name which I could connect with. And then I walk in there, I mean the direction that is given in the physics department. I just meet one very elderly gentleman. I said, sir, can I meet you? He gave me a very casual look and he said, I say, come in, he said. Okay, I say, come in. I said, okay, fine. I went and sat. Then he started talking to me about his problems. Okay, he didn't even introduce who he is, or he didn't even ask me who I am. First, he talked to me about so many things, about Raman, about a lot of things and the kind of research programs, and a lot of things he talked to me. I was wondering, why is he talking to me all of that? Then, of course, he came back and said, look, I am Professor P.S. Narayanan. I was also a student of Professor C.V. Raman. Where are you from? So I said, I am so-and-so, and, I'm from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. See, we were the second batch of students passing out. The second convocation was held in 1985. Okay, that's when we passed out. He said, oh, I have heard about it. Please come, let us talk. As he was talking, I don't know what signals he was giving. He was talking to me a lot about physics, a lot about things, a lot of things about the life over there and what we do in hostels and our, how we take care of, including fixing an electrical switch, to fixing a leaking tap, to everything. Okay, I mean, that's the kind of thing. I mean, of course, some of us were involved in working in, the fields, growing paddy and growing ragi and also milking the cows. So we were all involved in even those activities. So I was just briefing him on all of that, the kind of life he had. He was listening to me very, very interested, man, very interestingly, and then very sort of very childlike innocence on his face, actually. I did not know how big that man was. Later only I realized who he was, actually, when I really looked at who he was. Then as he was talking, somebody came, he signaled something to them, and then I found one more very elderly person coming and sitting in front of me and talking to me about some subject matter in solid-state physics, crystal structure, Bloch functions, and lattice dynamics, a lot of things. And then I was just wondering what is happening, One person is talking about the way we live, the other person is talking about all these things. And then he talked to me for about half an hour or so, a very elderly person. I did not know who they were, let me assure you. Then he left. And then again, I see one more very, you know, very energetic young man coming in, and that face I could connect somewhere. I used to feel, look, I have seen him somewhere. I have seen this man somewhere. Okay. Then it struck me, yes, I was serving food in his wedding, okay, in Brindavan campus. He was Professor Chandrasekhar, you know, Professor Bhagawantam's, you know, grandson, okay. That's how I connected. Then I said, so look, I think I've seen you somewhere. Then somewhere or other it stuck. Then he talked to me much more complex physics, critical point phenomena. See, it's like some thermodynamics and a lot of things. I mean, forget all those you know, jargons over here. But he talked to me for quite some time, and then he also left. Then I found one really, you know, a man like, you know, what you call that, what are those dog breeds, you know, that, which, you know, recently, today also Karnataka government banned them, you know, rearing those dogs, very ferocious, I forget the name, pit bulls or some such thing, okay? He walked in, you know, with bald head and thick beard and, you know, the way he put on very big accent, oh, you are, you know, he was talking in such an excited manner. And then he asked me some questions. He was, quite some time he was grilling me, you know, on some Maxwell's equations and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It went on for that. And then at the end of the time, I realized I was feeling very tired. It was 4 hours I was sitting there in front of them, and they were talking to me. Then I didn't know it was my professor. That is it, Professor P.S. Narayanan took me to a huge empty hall. It's a very big empty hall, and then newly built building in physics department, annex of physics department of IISc. I don't know how many of you have seen the first physics department of IISc, typical British construction, you know, stone walls and very beautiful structure. So then another annex building was put up there, and then he took me to that lab, and I found a lot of students working with some very sophisticated, you know, instruments and things like that. He took me through all of them and got that lab open. See, he said, this is your lab. And I just couldn't believe that, okay? I don't even know. He said, this is your lab, and I'll give you some papers and what you need to do. He said, you need to set up a program for the DRDO, Defense, called Laser Applications Program. It's a very, very, you know, challenging project. And then you will be working on that. And I said, I couldn't believe my ears, you know, saying that, oh my God. I mean, and then I was also intimidated, because I was completely intimidated looking at the kind of what he briefed me and that kind of deliverables which I had to work on. Then he said, I said, when do I join? He said, you have already joined. He said, you have already joined, okay. I said, I couldn't believe. He said, see, you are from Sathya Sai Institute, isn't it? Start working. See, that was the way this name Sathya Sai had, okay. Now, not after about a couple of hours, maybe after, he took me to lunch. I mean, he himself is such a nice man. He took me to a cafeteria for lunch and things. And in the afternoon, he came back, and then he introduced the entire team of about 14, 15 seniors. And I'm here, a puny guy, you know, just very timid and, you know, in whites and, you know, all that. Then afternoon, I was just sitting and trying to read. I mean, just trying to connect with the points, you know, the dots, what has happened, and then is it really true, sir? How, I mean, is it, what's happening over here? Then he comes back in the afternoon around 4 o'clock, and then he said, I say, you know, he used to use the word, I say, you know, keep this cash with you. I thought, has he given me the salary already, even before knowing what my salary is? I don't even have an appointment order. You know, pretty big, thick bundle of notes. He said, this is impressed cash. For the project, you will require it, and for a lot of expenditure. You know, there are multiple ways of doing things. One is that through what is called small expenditures through impressed cash, and all of them, all your seniors who are there, they'll be requiring something or other. You please give them money whenever they want, and collect the bills and submit it in the department. I have given a standing instruction that as and when you clear bills, they should give you another 10,000 rupees. I mean, that's a huge amount those days, okay? It's a huge money, actually. I said, sir, I mean, I'm here a few hours now, and they're all seniors over there, and you know, they look very, very, I mean, I was scared actually looking at them in the first instance, okay? I was literally scared because I could not reconcile to the situation, I'm already in and already, some of them are really well-built fellows, and I was also a little worried about them because they gave me such stares, and who are you? Who are you trying to intrude into our spaces? Then he said one thing. Remember that you are from Satsai Institute of Higher Learning. That's all. See the kind of faith that he reposed, not that he didn't have faith in others. I said, look, they will get upset, they're such seniors and then me trying to do, no, that you find a way of survive through them and make sure that, they start liking you and start working with you, that you don't mean anything. See, this is where, again, what, the saying that the purity of the purpose and patience and perseverance. Let me tell you, it took quite some time for me to convince them I really mean good, I mean no harm, and absolutely no selfishness in any of those things. They can, anytime, they can, I will come to them and ask them if required morning and evening what they need and give it to them whatever they want. It took about 3-4 months to win over them. Then I was part of the family. Okay, that's one thing about winning over people, which is again, what I'm saying, it is so natural to us because the way of life that we lead in hostels, where we would like to ensure that, entire thing, it's a small community. We want, our cupboard mate, our roommate, our wing mate, our classmate, we have a lot of such, floor mates, all of such things, we would try to connect with them and make sure that everybody is, if any of them have any problem, you empathize with them and try to help them out, See, these are all in a very natural way we learn here. Nobody preaches you all these things, isn't it? So this is exactly what came to my rescue at that point also, okay, not IASC. And of course, life went on. I had to struggle through that, and I had to literally innovate, because it's a very confidential project, and you don't get any, what you call the open literature to start from and starting point. So you need to work out on your own. You have to sort of really wade your way through. And of course, every moment was either jugaad or innovation, either of them. I don't know which one came first, which one came later. But again, you need to persist. You need to have one more word. I'm sure modern day, entrepreneurs use the word, I'm sure, resilience. Okay? So all these things, whatever was part of natural training for me here, that came to my rescue. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that every one of us here is a natural innovator. Okay? Innovation combined with imagination. Innovation even to survive through an entrepreneurship, even if you have a startup ecosystem, you start a company, but every moment you try to innovate ways and means as how to survive, right? How to find new ways of going through. So we use these jargons these days, but it's part of us. And it's just that we need to sit back and say, look, it is in me, and we have to start using that. So precisely this workshop is going to help us out, because they're going to tell you exactly that. Of course, I don't know which eye comes first over here. I'm confused. Either inception, imagination, innovation, or innovation, imagination, inception. I don't know which of the eyes come over here, whether all three eyes, they mean different or they mean the same over here. Somewhere or other, I'm confused with this jargon over here. Now, coming back to our own institute, we have taken up this in a very, very serious manner. We have already put in some funds to get this activity going. And even day 4 today, we had a very detailed discussion with some of the chartered accountants, to how to bring in that here. Basically, the kind of, different people use different terms like Section 8 company and, a lot of such things. And also to give seed grants for any student who has some very good idea, and also provide them facilities. See, we are trying to focus right now with our own students, because we can't expand too much, because this is a small institution, and we want to ensure that our students get the first priority. And if any of you have any good idea, you want to experiment with it, the institute will give you money. Okay? Anything. There will be, of course, some amount of small reviews that will happen. So you do not have to have any inhibition. If you have any of the good ideas, please. Just now, Prasad was telling me, your teacher, that Principal also was telling me, one of you have come out with a beautiful prasadam packet. You know, prasadam is something which is part and parcel of our culture at Kulwant Hall or even any of these places. For every function we have that. So if that really works out, if it is there, I'm sure it's a good innovation from us, right? And then we can always look at somebody who can make it and give it to us, or you can start working on it yourself if some money is required. We are also talking to our own, all your seniors, that's our own alumni, who will be interested in hand-holding quite a few of you. We're trying to put that platform in place. Maybe in about few months' time, everything should be in place for us in terms of how to support and help our students in trying to, nurture their innovative skills and also the ideas, and if at all any of them can lead to some products eventually. And we also did have a very long discussions with our own hospitals, doctors over there. Again, on the medical side, pharma side, all of this we are trying to work out and see how we can we have a lot of potential and we want to realize it fully, to its fullest extent. So I will not stand between you and the real experts in domain, because I'm no expert in this at all. I'm just a learner over here. And it's just that the survival instincts through different process of my own career, made me a bit hard, okay? I mean, particularly starting from defense projects to space projects, where, at least if an automobile stops on the way, you can tinker around and make it run over there. In defense and space, there's no such scope. There's no scope for, once you light the matchstick, and leave it to God afterwards. So the success depends on your real hard work, okay, real hard work. Many a times we find that, which I have also done, some of the, the conventional approaches to solve certain problem, engineering challenges, is bypassed. And then make sure that when we bypass that, the new process, what we think, the new way of looking at this is basically to save cost and time, let me tell you. Otherwise, a very, very expensive thing. And then we have to find ways and means as how to bypass. That's how ISRO is so very successful, right? We work very hard and make sure the missions, every mission is a successful mission. See, very initial stages, you had those SLV failures. They became popularly as, what is SLV full form? Then when it failed, they were called as sea-loving vehicles, okay? See, people were very quick, unfortunately, people are very, very quick in, condemning. But if you are in that place, you know how much of, it's nothing less than 16 to 18 hours of work, let me assure you that. Nothing less than 16 to 18 hours of work when you want to work in these domains, or anything for that matter. I'm sure I see a lot of this other, be it IT sector, be it any sector, manufacturing sector, anywhere for that matter. Intelligence is not a substitute for hard work. Intelligence and hard work is a very healthy combination over there. So you need to sort of learn as how to work hard at least 12 hours a day and manage rest of the hours for your own other requirements. So that you have to learn, and life is quite hard. Survival is not very easy. We may talk about here purity, patience, and perseverance, and resilience, and things that unless we practice all of that in every aspect of our life, it doesn't come like a magic when you are in the situation. Let me assure you of that also, because unless it becomes an integral part of you, you will find it, life teaches you in a very, very hard way. Basically, it tells you, look, buddy, you forgot what you learned. That's how it teaches you. So that's the way we need to really move forward. So I urge every young mind over here, imagine which way. First, innovate and imagine, or imagine, innovate. What is the first thing over here? Somebody, some expert, please. What is the, I have no idea, because I thought imagination leads to innovation, innovation is outcome of imagination. Okay. Either way, I mean, it's up to you how you want to use. They are very flexible words. And I'm not exactly sure what the term Inception over here, how it came. Probably somebody might, during the next few lectures, we might understand that. So I wish every one of you the very best, and I'm really, really grateful for all the experts who have come here, who are going to be here, in trying to help us out, every one of us, because there's a lesson that even at this stage also I need to learn. Okay, so there's no end to learning in life. Let's be very clear. There's no saturation for learning. Your learning is a continuous process. The moment you stop learning, then you are doomed to fail. So some of these things teach us that. Be open to learning, keep learning continuously, and don't forget. If you forget the history, you're bound to repeat it. So try to remember also. So with these few words, I welcome all our eminent guests over here, and let's get the best out of it. Wish you the very best. Sai Ram.
Thank you, sir, for reminding all of us about the learnings at Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, which will take us a long way in our lives. I think every student here and also staff member has appreciated what you just mentioned. Now it's my pleasant duty to welcome Professor Pallav Barua, the Dean of Sciences, Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, who is today here in his capacity as President of the Institute's Innovation Council. Welcome, sir. A brief introduction. Pallav, sir, as we all know him, has been here in our institute. At least I've seen him for last more than, I think, almost 3 decades. After completing his school education at the Cotton College in Guwahati, sir joined our institute. He completed his MSc and later on also did his PhD in the area of differential equations. He completed his doctoral program in the year 1994. Ever since, sir has been serving as a member of the faculty of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science at the Prashanthi Nilayam campus. Sir has won several awards for best paper presentations and also has been part of several conferences organized across the country and the globe in the area of mathematics and computer science. He won the Innovation Award in the year 2014, given by NVIDIA at the High Performance Computing Conference. His research interests, apart from differential equations, include parallel and distributed computing, high-performance computing, and big data with AI, and of course, blockchain and the latest technologies. To sum up Sir's qualities, if I could say that, always bubbling with enthusiasm and always at the forefront to take up new initiatives. If during this year alone, 2023-24, we have had several meetings and interactions and programs in the area of innovation and startups, the entire credit, I think, must go to Professor Pallav. You would have attended many such meetings and programs, both online and offline. And we all are happy that the Institute's Innovation Council is headed by Professor Pallav. For a brief period after 2011, Sir served as the warden of the Prashantinilayam campus of our institute. Last year, in December 2023, Sir took over as the acting registrar and continued in that position till end of May 2000. Sir took over in December 22 and continued till May 2023. One more point of recognition. We all have heard about the course in actuarial science. Here in our campus, we have the courses in data science. Sir has been a key mover behind these courses, the program MSc in data science, and also the upcoming programs, bachelors in actuarial science, etc. Sir, as the head of Department of Mathematics and Computer Science earlier, played a very key role in ensuring that these programs, as required by industry, are available to the students of this university. Last year, he represented our institute and received the very unique gold level award given by the Casualty Actuarial Society of the United States. This award, gold level award, has been given to very few universities. I think it's just 4 in the entire world. And our institute received this award last year. Now, I invite Professor Pallav Kumar Barua to deliver the keynote address.
Humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagawan, respected Vice Chancellor, honored guests, faculty members, and dear students. At the outset, I thank organizers for inviting to talk here, and also our respected Vice Chancellor and Brother Manohar for showering all these kind words, which I don't know. I only attribute it to Swami's blessings. And of course, the cooperation and the brotherhood that exists in our campuses, which makes all these things possible. So brothers, Bhagavan has established this institution. I always go to the root with the unique purpose of delivering or blessing the humanity with personalities, individuals which are molded the way he would like to. And one of the templates he has given us is that Sai students should have the head of Shankara, heart of Buddha, and hands of Janaka. You must have heard it a number of times, especially your orientation programs, so I will not go into explanations of that. And today, what our respected Vice Chancellors narrated his experience, I am sure we will develop the confidence that yes, Sai students are very close to those templates, that template what Swami has given. Coming to today's topic of innovation, I will not dwell on the distinctions of these three topics, right? Because as Sir also repeatedly said, that these three things probably is like, three sides of a prism or things like that. They are always together. One without the other will not have any realizable outcome. Having said that, I would not take much time. In the past decade, whenever people talked about innovation, people talked about disruption. That your innovation has to be disruptive, only then it will be felt and the results will reach the end users and things like that. But I am sure all the experts will agree with me that current situation is that innovation has to be guided by compassion. And when we say that, this compassion, I will also just go back to Bhagawan's model of heart of Buddha. This compassion would allow a person actually to search for a problem which is very relevant to the immediate community or a group of individuals or whatever it is. And not only identifying the problem, but actually becoming a friend of the problem, not of the solution first. It is something like when Bhagavan used to narrate the story of Pandavas and Mother Kunti. Mother Kunti used to tell Lord Krishna that, yes, give us more problems so that we will always remember you and we'll be praying and things like that. In other words, if you want the ultimate benefit to come, then you should actually befriend the problems. In other words, in current days, befriending the problem has been actually structured very well. And I think it started with the Stanford University. And currently, I think IIT Delhi is doing a fantastic course on what is called design thinking. And I must congratulate all of you. I am sure last semester in this very campus, we had a very wonderful program on design thinking workshop. You agree? So that is what finally it is. I am so grateful to Bhagavan that he has created path for us, our students, to rise up to the expectation and creating these avenues. A compassionate heart, if you just tell a student that you should be compassionate, he would ask how. But now, through these activities, we know that befriending a problem is actually being compassionate. And for doing that, you have a very structured method of design thinking. And that is how people do. If you want to understand the problem in and out, and you want to develop a solution which will actually serve the cause, the path is design thinking. And you should really congratulate yourself and be thankful to your teachers that you had a 5-day long workshop on design thinking. Each and every aspect of it was dealt upon, which must be a good treasure and a tool in your hands when you are attending this workshop. Going ahead, this institution provides us with all these facilities, and most importantly, the ambience where an idea can get space for its initial shake-up. You can bounce the problems in and around with your classmates. You have a hostel facility where you live with a big community, not just one isolated room. And therefore, we have a situation where if one is interested to exploit this situation, the ambience, really very innovative work can be done. As respected Vice Chancellor was mentioning, there is no substitute to hard work. But once you are trained, I think that is where the idea of Inception will come, that once you are trained with different tools, technologies, for example, on coming 30th, another workshop we are conducting, how do you take advantage of recent technologies, like ChatGPT can be used to develop creative solutions. That will be the theme of that workshop. I urge all of you to attend that. It will be online. Each of you should have your own system. It will be a session where hands-on you will be trained how to use these kind of LLMs and other models to your benefit to design creative solutions. So these things keep happening. It is up to us to be focused and put our hard work in it so that we come up with solutions to problems which are really our pain points, sore points for various communities. And thereby, not only you are doing something, you are also bringing big name to the institutions and above all to Bhagawan himself. So with these few words, I would stop and I will leave the day to our experts who will dwell on the topics and bring more useful thoughts, tools, and ways and methods of going about with innovation. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, respected Dean of Science and President of Institute's Innovation Council, for kickstarting this event with this inspiring speech. I am sure this event will change our perspective towards this diverse topic and bring a paradigm shift in the way we envision our career. It will help us transform from job seekers to job creators. People say India's economy is increasing, but the number of jobs are dropping. And that's where all the energetic young entrepreneurs enter. They fill the need of society, not just economically, but also socially. Now I would like to call upon the Dil Kush group, which comprises of first BBA students, to come and present their initiative.
Sri Sairam. We, the Dil Kush team, from first BBA class, are happy to announce a small in-house entrepreneurial initiative called Dil Kush. We, the members of the team from first BBA, have come up with a small business idea where we'll make few snacks and prasadam and make it available for our local in-house students. It helps us to learn various aspects of business management, costing, finance, and marketing in a practical way. I would now request Vice Chancellor Sir and the dignitaries to please unmute our item. Dil Kush also to join. as Sir told, soon, with the help of our team, we'll first increase the production to our campus, and possibly we also have a set of target which is set by one of our senior, that soon we have to make this prasadam for our summer course. So looking forward for that as per our quality, sir. Thank you. Sir? Yes, sir. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam. Now, it's my privilege to introduce today's guest of honor, Shri C.N. Ram, to address us all and illuminate our minds with his insights. Shri C.N. Ram is co-promoter of FinDNA Tech Corp Private Limited. As MD and CEO, he oversees the development of a modern cloud-native core digital banking platform. He was an advisor to Warburg Pincus India Private Limited from July 2015. He worked closely with firms, professionals, and CXOs. Shri Ram holds a postgraduate diploma in management from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and a BTech degree from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. He has won 3 Lifetime Achievement Awards from leading publications for his stellar work as CIO in multiple companies. He is currently an independent director on the boards of Aditya Birla Health Insurance Company, SBI Funds Management Limited, and Fullerton India Credit Company Limited. He is the nominee of Warburg Pincus in their portfolio company, Perfios Software Systems Private Limited. Shri Ram has 4 decades of work experience, predominantly in banks, manufacturing, and BPO industries. He has worked closely with the Reserve Bank of India through committees set up by them on several projects that have had significant impact on banking industry, like IDRBT, Rebit, Check Truncation System, NPCI, etc. He has also worked on customer advisory boards of leading global firms like Sun Microsystems, NCR, HP, and Visa International. From 2010 till 2013, Shri Ram was Group President and CIO of the SR Group. SR has global interest in steel, oil and gas, power, BPO, retail, E&P, EPC, and telecom. Shri Ram was responsible for mentoring the individual business CIOs, aligning business and IT, streamlining IT governance, creating strategic alliances with SAP and Microsoft, and for integrating groups' worldwide SAP implementations. He was also responsible for blueprinting the global IT rollout using outsourced data centers and the platform for collaboration amongst employees. From 1994, Shri Ram was head IT in HDFC Bank for 14 years. Starting as the 3rd employee, he spearheaded the IT initiatives of the bank to place it amongst the most technology-savvy banks in the region, winning several awards during his tenure. He also served on the boards of some of bank's subsidiaries like HDFC Securities, HDB Financial, and few companies where the bank made strategic investments. In 1982, he was hired as the first IT employee of Bank of America, India, where he spent 12 years leading their automation efforts as they graduated from manual operations to automated processing, and from stand-alone to integrate with worldwide systems on a global operating platform. He started his career in 1979 with Tata Iron and Steel Company as graduate trainee. In 2008, he and 5 others set up a social venture called Rural Shores Business Services that creates job opportunities for educated youth in rural India by employing them in BPOs set up in villages. This has enabled the creation of many jobs, including for women who would rarely leave their homes. And at last, Sri Ram is also member of Institute's Innovation Council. Now I would like to call upon Sri C. N. Ram to address us all.
Sairam. And it's still, I think, good morning. I pray to Bhagawan to shower his abundant blessings on all of us today and for the future as well. I'm very thankful to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Barua, Sai Manohar. He's not here with us. I wish him speedy recovery from his illness, and several others who made this trip possible. Getting onto the Innovation Council, I think, has been a great idea because I'm going to learn a lot from just being on that council. I can testify to what the VC was saying about Professor Barua. He's been a relentless pusher in terms of getting together people to serve on this council, and I hope we can do justice. When I was listening to the introduction that was made, I realized that what the VC said is absolutely correct, which is all of us are innovators. It's just that in our day-to-day life, we have no time to, as Wordsworth said, stand and stare and contemplate, and therefore we don't realize that we are actually innovating all the time. Couple of things come to mind. You know, they say necessity is the mother of invention. So somewhere we have to look at the necessity. So if we are aware of the surroundings, and then we know that something can be better, because the environment is changing all the time. And because I've always been in a technology field, the rapidity with which things have changed over the decades, like one of my co-founders said, I wish I were 25 again. There is so much happening, there is so much possible, and if you just hark back to the old days where we used to have mainframes and systems where we had to code extensively using all those 8-inch diskettes, to what now everything is provided on the cloud. You just need to have your credit card, swipe it, and an environment is created for you. So you're all lucky to be around at this time, at the height of innovation, not just in India, but worldwide. I think the whole discovery process and the nurturing process of innovators has never been as strong as it is today, and it can only get better. You're also very lucky in the sense that you've become part of an institution which actually trains you unknowingly, that is unknowing to yourself, and Professor Barua called that out, and the VC called that out as well. The shaping of somebody's character is something which actually stays with you for life. And it's so important to an innovator, and if you want to call yourself an innovator, to have impeccable character. And I think it's very important for you to realize that you're a very privileged lot. And innovation and entrepreneurship should come very naturally. And I think the VC again called that out, saying Swami's intention was always that we should be job givers. And how are you going to give jobs unless you actually have a tremendous idea, a commercial idea, an idea which has maybe a social purpose, and then attract a whole lot of like-minded people, including financiers, so which is so important in this world. So you can do some level of bootstrapping, but if you want to really scale it, then you have to look for financing. So rather than talk about innovation as a subject and innovation, how we should nurture and stuff like that, I will confine myself to just laying out examples from my own life of the various phases which I now realize, and I know when I was doing my pranam with Swami and Pallav said, pick up a thought for the day, I picked it up and it said, I'm your best friend. So I know what he meant. I know what he meant because I was really confused about what I should talk to you. And therefore, I had not prepared any presentation. So I was saying, Swami, you have to help. You know, there are so many stories of how people have just stood at the mic and then the words kept pouring out and then they came back and said, I don't know what I said, but it was Swami who was speaking through me. So I said, you have to do one of your miracles and make sure that the audience doesn't get bored. They actually get what they were looking for. So when I listened to the speeches by the VC and Professor Barua and, of course, Professor Manohar, right? I realized that there is so much of learning which has already been encapsulated in your program. So I don't need to teach you anything. But what I will do is talk through 3 distinct phases of my entrepreneurial journey, if you want to call it, and then help you with some lessons which I have learned, which will be very useful. When you're young and at this stage, and in a campus like this, there is always an overwhelming sense of optimism. The reality there is a little different. I don't want to depress you, but it is a little different. So when you encounter real life, you will find that it is actually a lot of people with different ideas, different biases. And in any company, apart from the financial capital, you have to have human capital as well. And this human capital has emotions, it has biases, it has ego, it has predilections, it has aspirations, and therefore it becomes a lot more complicated than the financial capital, which is very easy. It's either there or not there. So man management becomes a very important aspect of an entrepreneur's life because you can't do everything yourself. You have to have people, and like I said, like-minded people who are actually joined with you in the journey because of a common aspiration or a goal. And I'll give you examples of how we went through and what you should look out for and what you should presuppose and what you should not presuppose and what you should discuss threadbare with your other promoters. So I'm what I would call an accidental entrepreneur. The incubation part actually happened in Parthi. When we started thinking about rural shores, it was one of the people in Parthi. I'd gone for a seminar, and I used to go for a lot of seminars in Parthi those days. And it was, again, like-minded people. Everybody was a follower of Bhagawan's teachings, and therefore it was easy for us to exchange ideas in a very cordial atmosphere. And we formed or germinated the idea of rural shows. It was modeled after the Gram Seva, the teachings of Bhagawan about how rural folk need to be helped and how we need to be there for everyone. And city slicks, they always, would get by because they're all survivors. But it's the rural folk who had to be integrated into the larger economy. So we had very lofty ideals at that time, and we said we want to set up 100 centers and we'll give 1 lakh jobs to rural people. And the reality is that this started in 2008. We are in 2023, 15 years, and we've been able to employ 2,500 people. Now, 2,500 people is, we can we can comfort ourselves saying that we are influencing, let's say, about 10,000 people because of that. I mean, if you look at a family size of 4, then 2,500 people, employment means about 10,000 people. But more importantly, the effect it has on women who we employ in our rural centers is the fact that many of the family traditions do not allow women to go out of the village unless they are married and then they shift out. But staying there, they are often considered a burden till they actually attain marriageable age and are actually married off. That's the reality in most of the villages. The moment we actually employ them, because they are in the village, it doesn't mean that they'll have to commute. So it's very safe. And the hours of work are also very safe. We never used to run 3-shift BPOs. So the moment they got their first salaries and started to contribute to the financials of their home, then the respect for them actually grew. So we didn't have to create 1 lakh jobs. I mean, it's still a bitter disappointment for me that I'm not able to create, or we have not been able to create 1 lakh jobs. But we are able to make an influence on the residents of the village, especially the women. So you can call it women empowerment. But more importantly, these are people that we have actually prevented from migrating to a small town in search of a job. And they don't put pressure on the infrastructure there. And you see how things are crumbling. I mean, even Bangalore is supposed to be reeling under a water shortage. So we have done our might in terms of what are all the other learnings. One of the things that, and we were 6 of us, right? So because we were united by a common purpose, it was very easy to actually get along initially. But as we started to expand, then the ideas started to pour in. How are we going to set up centers? Where are we going to set up the centers? Who are we going to take the money from? What kind of industries should we serve? So there was lots of pulls and pressures, with the result that only 2 of the promoters are currently in the business. The others, like us, have stepped away both from the board, so we are only investors there. But we see it from outside, the kind of impact it has. What are the lessons for you? The lesson for you is that lofty ideals are very good, but you have to be practical. You have to have conversations, and these could be very tough conversations with your fellow promoters. You have to know what the aspirations are. Are the aspirations also aligned? Is the way forward aligned? Are you able to come to a conclusion, whether it's a consensus or otherwise, about who should actually lead? You can't have 5 or 6 leaders in a company. And oftentimes, this is where the tussle starts out. And therefore, the important learning for you is that you may have great ideas, but it may not resonate, not just with the promoters, but with the outside world. I still remember going to Gujarat and making a presentation to Prime Minister Modi. He was the chief minister at that time. And we said, we want to do this in our villages. He heard us very patiently, 45 minutes, and nothing happened after that. So you have to be very practical. Just because you thought of a great idea and it resonates very well with what you want to do, it doesn't mean that the other people on the other side who actually matter will also resonate with the same idea, and they'll be able to actually contribute. So you have to be prepared. And one of the biggest lessons that we learned is that we need to do risk management. You've taken on the responsibility of hiring, let's say, 100 people in a center, and if you don't have assured work, you can't tell them to go home. Those 100 lives are dependent on you. So the social purpose, however lofty it is, you have to come onto the ground and talk about the risks. What if we are not able to do this? What if some other situation happens and therefore you're not able to fulfill? Whose life are you affecting? We are all well-to-do. We have made our money. Even though you get into it with no ideas of making money for yourself, But if you're not able to make money for the people that have invested, they have a completely different outlook. The ecosystem, does it permit? When you went to the companies and said, this is what we want to do, they said, oh, you're going to do it in a village, that means half my cost. And they forget that setting up an infrastructure in a village in those days, I'm talking about, you need to have generators, you need to have PCs, but you also need to have people who will be able to maintain those PCs. If they want to give you serious work, and if it's mission critical work, if it's, other kind of work, then they're not very serious about it. You want mission critical work, but you have to have mission critical infrastructure. You need to have people who will be able to maintain that. And all that is so expensive when you have to travel at least half a day to a center from the city. Because no support person wants to stay in that village. So think about the ecosystem. So it's all very nice to be able to have great ideas and you think you're going to create a major impact, but be sensible about it. Evaluate the risks. And even if you're not able to, that's where I think the ecosystem provides you the ability to go and talk to outsiders as well. Talk to them and find out what their experiences have been. What are the things that they have to, worry about? There was a time when, if you had a good idea, there were 15 people lined up to actually invest. I mean, there was so much money in the ecosystem that there were not that many avenues for them to invest. And therefore, any idea, people just went and actually subscribed to it. 10 years later, 15 years later, after supporting them through all the loss-making mechanisms that they had, suddenly they have a conscience call. Oops, I'm actually taking somebody's money and putting it in this system, and it's not giving me returns. How am I going to tell my limited partners? What am I going to tell them? So they started to pull back the money, or worse, they started to insist that you have to show me a path to profitability. Because if a VC or a PE firm invests, what are they looking for? They've collected money from sovereign wealth funds and rich individuals, and they're saying, don't put it in mutual funds, that gives you a 10 or 12% return. I'll give you a 15 to 20% return. And probably in US dollars, so that adds another at least 2 or 3% because of the currency devaluation. Now you're promising somebody a 20 to 23% return, and you go and put it, I don't want to call the companies names, but you know what I'm talking about. You put it in companies which are perennially making losses. At some point in time, somebody is going to wake up and say, hey, when are you going to give me the money back? And that's what has happened. So when you talk about funding winters and stuff like that, suddenly we have a herd mentality everywhere, right? So if something is happening with the stock, then everybody wants to withdraw from that and put it somewhere else. Or if the country is at risk, everybody wants to take money out and put it somewhere else. US bond prices go up, money goes out of here. US bond prices come down, money comes in here. Luckily, China is a pariah now, so nobody wants to invest in China. But that situation may not last. We have no idea, right? All we know is that the situation never remains the same. So when you do your plans, you have to have a measure of sensibility and sensitivity to the environment to be able to project reasonably well. If you under-promise and over-deliver, that's great. You understand what I'm saying? If you under-promise and over-deliver, that's great news for everybody. Oh, we are not expecting this kind of stupendous returns. Great. I mean, you guys, you have other ideas. Let me fund you for that idea as well. That's how the reception is. The moment you over-promise and under-deliver, that's when everything starts to become a problem. A problem because the social media is so active in this country, in every country. So whether you get castigated by your investor or not, the social media is ready to write you off. So you have to then start thinking about who provides the wisdom. You look at many of the startups, whether it's a Google or a Microsoft or a whatever. They always started with 20-somethings, right? But very quickly, they went and hired people like me with no hair, gray hair, to actually manage, because you need that kind of experience to be able to manage the ecosystem and survive. And not just survive, but prosper. Now, nobody will say Google is just surviving or Microsoft is just surviving, right? They're all prospering. Now, if your ambition is to be like that, then maybe you should have been born in a different period. But even now it is possible if you have unwavering commitment. I mean, the 3 Ps that Professor Manohar was talking about, very important. Even during the toughest time, you need to be able to persevere. So that is one part of the journey. The second part of my journey was when I joined Warburg Pincus as an advisor. And it was a wonderful experience, because the PE firms get in at at the C or D funding level, right? CD, C or D, which means that the company has gone through its initial round, the angel round, couple of VC rounds, and then the promoters have learned either to work together or separated. So then it is just growth capital. And when you get to that stage, you have to worry about what are the returns you're going to promise them, because the VC firms' normal tendency is to invest over a 6 or a 7-year horizon, and then they have to take the money and invest it in some other startup. So when I was working with many of the portfolio companies, you realize a gap between what their aspirations were and what their people and systems were. So very often we used to go and take a holistic view and suggest to them where all do their technologies have to change, where all do their people management has to change. Sometimes the promoter as a CEO is actually a dysfunctional CEO. He's great with ideas, but he doesn't know anything about management. And we have actually counseled them to say, why don't you be the chief innovation officer and leave the management and the company to somebody who's actually very good at it. CEOs may be very good at management, they're probably not very good at innovation. So it's those kind of marriages we create mainly with a selfish motive that at the exit time, we should have made at least 2.5 times the money. It is a very interesting experience, because you went and talked to them about what their initial IT strategy was, where they've ended up now, and it is time to pivot, to make more investments in technology, take advantage of what the modern technology architecture is. The features, the open source, for instance, from in those days to now, it has become mainstream. So you can actually rely on open source systems to be able to deliver what the companies want. So it was a great learning experience, and I did that for 8 years. And just when I thought I was retired, came along this opportunity. So I told you, I'm an entrepreneur by accident. Banking has always been a passion for me. And when I looked at the systems that I had put in, let's say 30 years back, and what the system needs are today, I mean, I don't know how many of you are banking with any of the banks which do so-called digital. No one? Do you all have accounts or not? And do you interact with the internet, through internet and stuff like that? You do, okay. So the infrastructure that actually drives all this is a 30-year-old Ambassador car. Its engine very badly needs changing. Many people actually are happier to put a Ferrari outside and put the engine, the Ambassador engine inside. And they say, we are modern, we are digital, and that's what keeps happening. But at some point in time, that facade will drop. Customers will know there are serious limitations. And if your banking systems break down, because they were never built for 24/7 availability. They were built so between 11 and 3, when the banks open, that's when you could do the transaction. When the bank shut, you went home, they stayed in the office, balanced the books, and then they went home, but that's it. Nowadays, nobody ever goes to the bank, especially you guys, right? You receive money, the account is necessary to receive and pay. But the actual effecting of the transaction is through the mobile or through internet or through the ATM in the odd times that you actually need cash. Otherwise, every guy has a QR code, right? And the popular joke, I live in Bandra in Bombay, and it's the Carter Road Promenade is place where a lot of people just take walks. And usually we are in shorts, we carry only the mobile, we don't carry any wallets. So what do the beggars do? They said, give me money. We said, no, we're not carrying cash. They started carrying QR codes. But that's how the public digital infrastructure in the country is actually transforming the lives of individuals. And I have to recount to you my experience today coming into, so I took a very early morning flight, 6:45 from Bombay. And because they kept saying Digi Yatra, so I enrolled myself in Digi Yatra. Great. There's just one gate in Bombay in which Digi Yatra works, and it works beautifully. So I went in. The moment I went to the security line, it was like a mela. Whoa. I mean, I can't imagine how many people want to take early morning flights. I was one of them. But there is no separate line for Digi Yatra in Bombay. I mean, my experience in Kolkata was absolutely superb. Kolkata was great. You just walked in, and even through the security and up to the plane. It is all face recognition. But in Bombay, this is the problem. So you create a public digital infrastructure, amazing product, but you implement it so shabbily. So that's another lesson for you guys. Think about the variety of people who you have to interact with when implementing something really it's a technology marvel. If it's just recognizing your face, it allows you in access, everything. But after that, what happens? So, you went through, and in fact, there was such a small, there were only 2 gates for Digi Yatra for boarding, and there was such a huge line. A lot of people like me have fallen for this marketing of Digi Yatra, and they all queued up there. Luckily, I had a boarding card. So I went to the other line, scanned my boarding pass, and went. But what I'm saying is that, and the story doesn't stop there. So you go through all these hoops, they check you in at the gate, and then there is another guy at the end of the aero bridge wanting to see your boarding pass. I said, I've been through all this, my face was recognized everywhere, and you want me to show you my boarding pass. And there is a reason for it. Because I don't know if you read about it, but a couple of weeks back, a guy actually strayed into an Indigo flight. Strayed into. He didn't have a boarding pass, he didn't have a ticket. God knows what he was doing, but he actually managed to get into he was detected, so he didn't actually get in. But he passed through all these hoops where I had to show my face. I don't know what he showed, but he was able to get there. But I'm saying that this whole business of trust but verify has gone for too much, right? But this is the environment in which you have to work. So be very practical, be very grounded, do your test marketing, find out what are all the pitfalls. And for every guy who wants to use it the right way, there'll be 200 people wanting to do it the wrong way. So the risk of you and your brand getting affected because somebody chose it or chose to use it in a way that it was not meant to. But in India, everything happens. You build a flyover, people will come down and take a U-turn at the flyover because that's the quickest. But that's what happens, and people should actually think about. So when the highway from Bangalore to Hyderabad was built, there was no exit. So all the villagers who used to use this road, they said, what the hell, I'm not going to go and take a U-turn somewhere and add 5 kilometers to my daily They just come the way they used to. They'll switch on their lights, even in broad daylight, to show that they're there. It is your job, and you're driving in the correct lane. Your job is to figure out that they are in the wrong lane, but you can't do anything about it. You just avoid them. This is India. So your innovation has to stand the test of people in India. If you're dealing with institutions like what DCHAC does, it's great. What I'm doing now, great. But if you have to have an innovation which deals with Aam Aadmi, I'm not talking about politics here, I'm talking about real Aam Aadmi. You are bound to get very creative users of the product. That'll teach you also, but for some people, it'll be a consternation that, oh, somebody even imagined that my product will be used like this. The last, phase, hopefully this is the last innovation I will do. I'm too old for doing more innovations. We started on this core banking journey. So when I looked at the landscape and found out that a whole lot of financial institutions are actually doing digital journeys with a very antiquated core, it kind of triggered something in my mind, and I got a few other 60 plus people and actually started this company to do a complete reimagined core banking. It's going to be a 5-year journey, and luckily for us, I told my potential customer that I'm too old to go around looking for funding. If they want to fund me, then I'll build it for them. And they readily agreed. So we're building it. And 3 years have passed. I think it'll be another 2.5 years before we finally finish. But the good thing is I don't have to go around looking for funding. It's fully funded. And I also told them that I'm not going to do it only for you. I mean, what's the fun, right? So this is going to be something which I'm going to be able to sell to others as well. So the jury is still out, I would say. It is still in the making. I don't want to talk about success or failure, but I can tell you that the process of putting together a team, we are 155 now. It's been very interesting. We are a product of COVID, so the whole concept actually was put together during a conversation I had with my other promoters in June of 2020. It took us a year actually to put all our thoughts together and then be bold enough to go and stand in front of a potential customer and say, will you fund me? The idea of putting together like-minded people, one of the biggest risks that people see, apart from, of course, the seniority of the promoters, when I say seniority, we have a lot of experience, but we are also quite old, is about funding. What am I going to learn? What am I going to tell my family if they ask, why didn't you go and join a TCS or a Infosys? Why FinDNA? What kind of funding can you assure me? Are you going to make me run around for my salaries? So there are a lot of these things that we took care of, and you must be aware that when somebody joins, and we still have those middle class mentalities, right? So we want our salaries. Whether people give us ESOPs or not, I mean, that is a future earning. But we want our salaries because we have to run our household. And engineering and medicine used to be the biggest attractors in those days, right? At least in my times, you were either an engineer or a doctor. There was nothing in between. Now we have a plethora of opportunities for you guys. You have to understand it from the other person's point of view. Just because you have a great idea, are you able to communicate that idea? Are you going to be able to inspire them with the thought that this is something which is going to be relevant in the country, relevant for you to work on, and it is going to be very innovative and creative. So everybody wants to create something. Are you going to be able to give them the platform? So these are the lessons. And what I thought was that obviously DCHAC is a much more accomplished entrepreneur than I. He recently became a unicorn. Uh, So if we have some time at the end of DCHAC's presentation, I would very much like for you to ask questions. And if you have any questions, either here or, I can give my email ID. You can write to me. I'll give my phone number. You can call me, and I'm happy to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting importance of innovation and it being at its pinnacle right now. Surely, the integral education system ensures that innovation is ingrained within all of us. Man management is something we all should be well versed with. The truth and the reality is always different, and we should always be practical in our approach. People should be placed where they are best at, and we should have the ability to seamlessly communicate the idea. Once again, I thank you, sir, for the insightful address. Now, I would like to introduce today's guest of honor, Shri Debashish Chakrabarti. He is the co-founder and board member of Perfios Software. He has 37 years of experience in software industry. He holds a B.Tech from IIT Kharagpur and M.Tech from IIT Kanpur. He had a long stint in Wipro, writing optimizing compilers. He later worked with IBM India and moved around IBM T.J. Watson Labs and Almaden Research Labs doing device driver and database related work. There he met V.R. Govindarajan, with whom he later co-created two most successful and admirable software companies in India. In 1997, he joined Sri Govindarajan as one of the founding members of Aztec, where he developed framework and app servers, which were the core product lines of Aztec. Riding on the e-commerce boom, Aztec grew exponentially during the initial years. In 2000, Aztec went for IPO and got successfully listed in NSE and BSE. After an acquisition, Aztec was acquired by Mindtree in 2008. Sri Govindarajan and Sri Debashish co-founded Perfios Software in the same year. At Perfios, he led the team to architect and implement Perfios product line. Eventually, Perfios established products for the entire journey of retail and business lending in India. All leading banks and NBFCs started using Perfios product. Currently, Perfios is a global SaaS company serving banking, financial services, and insurance industry in 18 countries. After 4 rounds of funding, Perfios reached the status of unicorn, the second one to do in 2024. Sir loves working with people who have similar mindsets, who are not just order takers, but who love embracing challenges and who are also tech savvy. Now I would like to call Sri Debashish Chakrabarti to address us all.
first one only. That's okay. No, fine. Okay. Good afternoon. Pranam to Bhagawan, respected Vice Chancellor, respected Dean of Sciences and Head of Innovation Center, Professor Manohar and Professor Sai Manohar, who could not be present today, and my dear students. I am thankful to Sri C.N. Ram to let me have this opportunity to come to this campus and present my experience to all of you. Hopefully, going by the theme of today's workshop, you will pick up bits of things and understand that entrepreneurship is not always bed of roses. One should be prepared for multiple years of patience, perseverance. Just an idea is not enough. It needs execution over multiple years. And prepared for sacrifices, both on the personal side and other sides. Thank you for the inspiring presentations you had. There are multiple things that I picked up, and I hope you will get bits of that during this presentation. I represent Perfios Software. Perfios is a global SaaS company, and what we built, an analysis and decisioning engine and a data platform, using which we automated the entire digital journey of lending. There are multiple things during the lending process, whether it's a retail loan, such as personal loan, vehicle loan, or home loan, or business loan. And there are multiple challenges. The entire thing was manual, and we could successfully transform it to the digital, which significantly reduced the time and improved the user experience, end user experience. Before I go to that, I'll share my journey with two companies. And when I mention about the patient side, know that the elapsed time of these two companies is 28 years. Before I get into that, quick coverage of what I did before I started these journeys. So after finishing my undergrad and master's, I was recruited from campus to join Wipro Infotech Limited. Wipro was a very small company during these days, but very ambitious company. They used to manufacture the entire mini computer. It was pre-PC days. Thanks to collaboration with IISc, they came out with the first motherboard. So it's just the importing of hard disks and the microprocessors from all the suppliers. But the design, assembly of the PCBs, the entire chassis, power supply, everything, we used to do it from their Mysore factory. And the software side, they used to build in-house. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable these days. The operating system, the compiler, the graphic kernel systems, and all the device drivers, 100%. Today we talk about Atmanirbhar, but we showed those days what it's required. And a fantastic R&D team they assembled. So I worked there, mostly writing compilers. The main customers were all defense departments and research, the BARC. There was embargo, remember those days. There was pre-liberalization days, and it was not easy to get high-performance compilers from abroad for their uses. You heard about Agni 5 missile. The program that I optimized was used for Agni 1 long ago. So I worked there for 5.5 years, and Wipro slowly felt that market is opening up, and the other vendors from abroad will come and probably flood the market, and will probably offer it cheaper. And we are not very sure how our compiler and others will stand when you compare with them. So let's start, our services operation also. That was the motive. And I was sent to Intel Corporation, their main chip supplier, worked there for about 6 months in their fast RISC compiler. There was a pipeline architecture and wrote for, the compiler for that. Objective was to return back with a huge offshore project, which I did. After completing that, by the time Dr. Manmohan Singh started as the finance ministry and market was opening up, IBM decided to return back to India. And that was a good opportunity, so several of us, including myself, joined IBM. IBM had no work in India. They just started operation. So they sent us abroad, go and work in the T.J. Watson lab. Those labs were amazing. Those were the golden days of IBM. You meet the people who are Nobel laureates, right? People who is just walking, very old, thinking and talking to himself, all kinds of, IBM used to do amazing things those days. But it was also the kind of decline of IBM during that time, and they started moving into services. Lou Gerstner joined. Nevertheless, we got good experience. I can't say very satisfactory work, but working in that environment and getting exposed to US environment was something we didn't have to that extent. Worked there and then a few other projects, and the most notable thing is I met a person called V.R. Govindarajan. Wonderful person. From the intellect, the witty, the kind of integrity, the common interest to build something for India, we gelled very well. So he said, I'm going to start a company with another gentleman in India. Let's build product, okay? You hear all about services companies around. Is a Wipro, Infosys, TCS. Who is working on product? Nobody. Everyone is scared. Let's build and let's show that product development can be done from India and can be even sold to in US if required. So, okay, I am game for it. Tell me what to do. He said, look, there is a catch. I'm working for an IBM client. Now, if I want to leave, I have to find a good substitute. So I'll introduce you to them. It's an Albany lab. You work there and come out. You have to repeat the same thing which I have done. So he left. And then I worked. And then 6 months later, again, I told the client, I am also leaving. He was not very happy. Worked for another 5 months, 6 months, and all that. Anyway, I probably got a good person as a substitute. Left. Next day, I joined this company. Again, as I mentioned, the intent was to build and demonstrate that software products can be built from India. I joined as the founding team, and I roped in a few more my colleagues from IBM. And my first day experience, okay? The company had just little fund to support our salary. Those days, just have to understand those days, the word startup was not very common. It is a new company, small company, yes. There is no internet. Internet just got introduced in US. In India, nobody can afford it. There is only VSNL line and very, very costly line. So you don't get much information about US, right? So the only way to find out is to travel and meet people. So it said, we got a small office in Electronic City. Now don't get confused with today's swanky offices, okay? Have you seen a BDA complex anywhere? Okay, where typically the RTOs are found, right? One of those buildings. By then, it's already crumbling. One room, forget AC, it was full of dust. The keyboards and the monitors were on a partly turned black. Stinking bathroom. Okay, that was my experience 2 days before I was in US, working for IBM. And because this Hosur Road is jinxed, it takes 2 hours to travel. And if we travel for 2 hours each way, there won't be any energy left to do any software development work. So Govi and others thankfully arranged for a carpool. They will pick us up. Those days, picking from Bangalore, multiple locations, including Rajinagara, going to electronics, hitting Hosur Road was faster than covering the last stretch on Hosur Road. So 5 of us, the window shades down, no AC in the car also, sweating, dust and all that, go there, come back. It was comparatively easy to convince my wife. Her complaint is, well, that office is such a beautiful office and it used to take 15 minutes for you to go. How long this will take? That's 2 hours one way. So you won't see much of me during weekdays. Or our son also won't see. My father was not so easy. He said, which company? Oh, never heard. Oh, okay. I suppose you are taking good decision. He was almost murmuring, what will I tell others, right? Till yesterday I was saying my son works for IBM. What will I tell them? Say, to tell them that he is going to work for, build the greatest product for India. He said, okay. So that's what started. By the way, we soon realized that traveling to Electronic City and in that kind of environment, it's not possible to concentrate and do that. So 2 months later, we had to pull together a little more money and opened up an office in Koramangala. Koramangala, of course, by then, it's quite costly real estate-wise. Infosys started in Koramangala. We could not afford any of these offices. So the office that we got, spacious, it was an ex-garment factory. You don't have to tell anyone it's a garment factory. Look at the floor, it's obvious. Multiple color, spectra, mosaic, everything was there. Actually, lost a customer. It was a good customer, and a BMC corporation. And they said, we'll visit your office. All you guys are good, but we'll visit. They'll come, let's cover that floor. So we told HR to get, but HR also didn't have money. So they got a red carpet, which is used in marriage hall, which still had the food stains. And laid up, okay, red carpet for customer. That's it. I mean, it doesn't matter how good we are, nothing worked. Anyway, so we spent 2 years in that garment factory. So what we did as a strategy, part of the company used to work for services because we had good connections in US, we could get projects, which will fund the rest of the company to build product. And I led the product part. We are profitable in the very first year because of this approach. Otherwise, there could have been a lot of tension, starting from second year onwards. What we built, I got only freshers. No senior person will join, almost impossible. And that too not from reputed colleges. So what we built in today's context called an application server. It's almost like the backbone of any internet-based application that you see. Is the middle tier that serves whatever people log in and then they do. We didn't know. There was a standard letter called J2E. We are ahead of time. After a few iterations, it became an application server. Next year, I moved to US, and Parthasarathi also moved to US, and then we registered the company in US and started meeting clients there. And the realization came at that time. Unlike in India, where they don't know what it is, in US, application server by then is quite well known. IBMs have one, WebLogic, and then WebSphere, Microsoft's, everyone had this. What kind of product we built where you have to compete with IBMs and Microsofts? Not workable, right? Well, we still tried. We tailored it to some vertical for data processing. We got few clients, not enough, even to maintain our US office. Within those 2 years, market was flooded with application servers. Thank you. And we just can't change the product. What do we do? 2 years of work has gone waste. What will happen to the dream of building product? Now, thankfully, during that time, the e-com boom has started. There are so many companies mushrooming everywhere, and we are in the Bay Area, one of the hot, place for those activities. All of them wanted, internet has picked up. All of them wanted to build applications which will work from the browser. And all of them need engineers who can build those application servers and the application which will work in a scalable fashion. And I figured out the team that I nurtured and worked with them day and night for last 2.5 years, they're so skilled now, we can position them as architect. They can build products for those companies. So we did a pivoting. So the pitch pitch was, we go to those companies saying, you consider us as an extension of your product development team? We'll build product for you. And here are the ones we built, and you can just check out our guys and see how good they are. What we started, later we got a name, OPD, Outsourced Product Development. Yes, it's services, so that way it's a loss of a dream. But this one started working very well. Now these 30, employees whom we prepare, they're quickly placed, okay? Then what do you do? How do you scale up such companies? You need such good people, right, in large numbers. How do you attract them? So we did multiple innovative things. Probably we are the only company in Bangalore, at least at that time, who ran billboard campaign, right? What you call the hoardings on the road, to attract developers. Like Amul ads that you see, every week it comes with something funny. So we tried that, the technology war and a bit of fun. It was widely quoted even in foreign magazines. It reached multiple developers. We ran half-page ad in newspapers. If you remember some of the ads of the Onida TV, there is no mention of Onida anywhere. Okay? Whatever the image or that icon comes, that's good enough for people to recognize. So on a toilet roll, probably a fantastic design, a block diagram is written, and it's some person doing it, and this is the right company and all, that kind of things. Developers started flocking to our company. And we turned around. Just this reorientation we turned around in a matter of only 1 year. Results. Everything grew at a phenomenal pace. You talk about growth, right? 30%, 40% growth, 100% growth. We grew 30 times in a particular year. We got an award from Karnataka government for having the, securing first position on the export target of mid-sized companies. And the government gave us a piece of land where you find the Mindtree West Campus today. We came out from the garment factory and for the first time moved to a proper office having air conditioning, and I got a laptop. So next year we went for IPO, and it was a great success. But good times don't last long. So e.com burst started. People realized that most of these companies, whatever they produce, is not of much use. They're losing funds, companies are closing down. Koramangala was full of startups, one by one shutting shops. We raised $17 million thanks to the IPO. That helped us to survive. I mean, we were still profitable in that time until 9/11 happened in year 2001, the terrorist attack on the soil of US. clients just stopped picking up calls, and we had no other option. Business was dull for about 2 years. But we had a company who had the fundamentals, right? In fact, our way to introduce the company to others during this dot-com time was, remember the California gold rush? Those who made maximum money are not the gold diggers, the gold hunters. It's those who build the pickaxes and shovels. We do that. We build the plumbing for the web. So everyone, every gold digger, right, they need us. So that is the fundamental. That cannot go away just for one, the few setbacks. Aztec bounced back. Aztec acquired a company called Disha Technologies in year 2005, Pune-based company. They had an experience center, an excellence center on Microsoft technologies, which we lacked. In year 2008, Mindtree, which was also a listed company during that time, expressed interest. We knew all their founders to acquire us, and finally in 2008, they acquired us. When they acquired, we built a team of 2,000 plus, starting from just 3 people. And our valuation was 90 million USD. So that's the Aztec journey. By the way, I'll prefer to be interactive. Any question? I think we. Okay. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sairam sir, your journey is actually very impressive and motivating for us. I have a question. Like I'm kind of into software development. So now we see we have internet, we have resources. The commutation of software is very easy. What was it like in those days? As you mentioned, the internet was just starting when you started off in 1996. Right. There was no internet in India.
No.
So how do you even go about software development in such a scenario?
Yes. See, what we built for the pre-internet days still had what we call the multiple tiered application. So it was a client server. Orienting towards the web, where the front end is served from the browser, took us some time. And the way we could do is for every company whom we built product, right? It's an extension of R&D, remember. So our value proposition was, I'll place 2 people to work with your team on site. And rest of the team, let's say 10 people, will work from India. And they may take turn also, so that each has the experience of knowing details. These people soon found out exactly what to be done. So it was not a problem. Again, the fundamentals of distributed technologies, distributed systems is common. How to build a scalable system.
A follow-up question on that. I understood that at that time, this kind of technology, at least in India, was starting off. As you said,
Yes.
there was not many companies that were into software development at that time in India. But now as we see the
Building products,
yes.
They are doing for others though.
Others though. Right now, if you see, sometimes we feel the technology has saturated, at least in software development area. So is it possible for innovation to happen in that field now also? Because we are like 2 decades away from that.
Yes. You see, innovations are happening at even faster pace now. I hope many of you heard about the co-pilot, right? Yes. Heard about ChatGPT mentioned. The co-pilot can probably eliminate entry-level software programming. And it's a huge, huge threat on the entry-level jobs. It has matured to that extent. What we are doing during those days is 1 by 1 Java file, right? It was a new language during that time. We are editing using text editor. Then came the IDE, integrated development environment. And now you only prompt. And if your zero-shot prompt is not yielding right result, you refine the prompt, right? There will soon be a course on prompt technology. But I urge, please do not be at the tail end of this technology. You will soon get, even if you are just a successful prompt engineer, it won't help you anyway. Try to be on the tougher side, okay? The data sciences side, which is a lot of math, a lot of stat. It's tougher, but there you can secure a job for longer time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So we came out from Aztec and full of energy, right? And thankfully, little bit of bank balance is there. When I joined Aztec, I was serving house loan. So looking back, the guts that I had during that time without even thinking, right? I mean, today I'll probably hesitate. But thankfully, the salary was assured. These days, sometimes even that cannot be taken for certain. So Gobi and I started thinking from 2007, what next can be done, and both of us are using, I'll explain what personal finance management means. We are using a software called Quicken. It was a desktop software made in US by a company called Intuit, and dollar is the only currency there. You cannot enter rupees, and you have to enter all data. Now, you wanted to do something for India, for Indian banking, for Indian investments, for Indian citizens. Let's build product again, and this time it should better work. So, is this idea of PFM good? We met quite a number of people, probably close to 100 plus, who are individual investors and others. Everyone vouched for it. I'll be the first user. Think we got a great idea. This will be another world hunger solving, right? So let's start. So I had a 2-bedroom apartment empty, so we started the work there. Got some ex-Aztec people. Told them you have to work at a far less salary than your market salary. All of them agreed. One common factor, just remember, that among all of them was all their spouses were working. So they had safety at home. These few things are very important, and you need backing from your family, right? Your parents, your family. If you don't get the backing, it's very difficult to work. So we called it Personal Finance One Stop. That's how the name Perfuse came. What is personal finance? So when you just start your career, maybe you have one bank account, maybe one credit card. You probably don't realize the importance much, but very soon you will have investments. So you'll probably trade in stock markets, right? Or you may probably buy mutual fund. You will have loan. You will have insurances, as good cover. Now, how do you know all this and manage in one place, right? What you do is log into multiple websites. So is it possible that all data will come in a one place, which will give me a 360-degree holistic view of all my assets and liabilities? And it should work from the browser. I don't have to install anything. And it should work with minimal intervention from me. My experience should be great, right? Automation. Automation is the key. It should get it automatically from all the banks. And once it gets all the data, it should better understand automatically all the bank transactions, credit card transactions, and group them, right? This is dining. This is in the loan EMI payment. This is interest that I received and all that. And give me alerts. Your EMI payment is due. Your fixed deposit is going to be mature on so-and-so date. You will get this much. Your credit card payment is due this much, and here is the due date, and all these things. And if the entire detail is there in one place, why can't it help to file income tax return? Because all the details are there. It has to just collate, and maybe I have to help it a bit, right? So that was the theme. And of course, mobile interface was required, although we didn't build it to start with. That's basically PFM, Personal Finance Management. Who uses? Individuals like you and me. Okay, so we started. Understand that it's a B2C product, right? People, everyone will use, and the more people use, the better. It was left to a close community initially, and then you opened for public, and then the realization started coming. How do you reach the people? Ads is the only way. Now, how do you place ads? There are ad agencies, who will place ads right places, and they'll have a percentage and go there. We tried multiple ones and all that. There's so much of fraud there. There are click frauds and others. Hard to get genuine users there. What we insisted is not just the click, but they will log in, create an account, and then log out. That's the bare minimum. Even that there, night 4 o'clock to 4:30 night, 5,000 users joined from a place in our country, one city. All these trends were very clear. And we had to pay to the ad agency. So there's an user acquisition cost. Those days it came to about 220 rupees. And we have to recover at least that money to make this a successful business proposition. User experience is vital. Yes, people log in. While they log in again, they have to see something new, right? Should be exciting. There may be initial wow factor that will quickly wear away. Then they have to log in again. How do you do that? Well, a lot of users, they're asking a lot of features. There are so many types of investments we didn't know. None of us are finance guys. Okay? So, well, start building, more users, serve them, continue. At some point, the realization came, this is not, might have created a product which is useful to some people. It's not going to be it doesn't make business sense. Attempt number 1, okay? Try the B2B approach. The mistake that we probably did when we did the user survey, all these are kind of high net worth individual, have good amount of money, and for them investment was the key. We didn't go to people, right? The others, and because there's no means by which you could have done it, but on hindsight probably we should have done. So there are IFAs, right? Independent financial advisors, who just manage crores of investments for these people. And those guys, typically they won't sit and work out all these views, but to an IFA, it's a good thing because they provide a concise view, entire thing in their portal. So we approached 2 whom we knew through some contact, and both of them are tech savvy and some, they like the technology part. So we built for them. We also built another add-on which will help them to manage the software. Good, fantastic features. Future and option was supported. The feature-rich PFM that we built, even probably today, there's no comparison. UI, of course, was terrible all along. We could never improve. We built ULIP, like insurance that was quite hot during those days. But those 2, that's all. Whomever else we approached, whether Mumbai, Bangalore, I'm fine with my Excel. Why should I pay so much for your software? I don't appreciate whatever you are providing. Done. This is not going to work. Well, make it low cost, right? Create a poor version of the same thing and approach them. So there's a one-page view, unlike that rich view. And exactly same thing, and the price they have to pay is much, much smaller. But they have to commit for a good number of users. Approached, and we got some customers, about 20, 30. That's all. You need a good marketing team, you need a good sales team. Even to approach this is not easy, right? You cannot do through ads. Did not work out. As such, revenue was small. If revenue is small, then volume has to be big. Only then it works. Did not work. Try others, okay? We know Wipro, Infosys, they are CEOs, CXOs, all of them. Cognizant, approach them. Please offer it for your employees, it's good for them, financial wellness. Fantastic meetings with every one of them. We'll do the needful. Wipro listed us on the 7th page of their intranet. Cognizant and Infosys, it's a good meeting, but that's it, no action after that. Thankfully, HP responded, and HP offered a financial wellness, but told us you have to come and talk about tax saving and other financial wellness program. We have a corporate financial wellness, and we can pay you that much, and that's good revenue during that time. So Only that worked, but this is not scalable. We thought in one shot we'll get 50,000 employee, 50,000 users, 2 lakh users. Doesn't work out. Chartered accountants. Poor guys, they still do all the work using paper. Right? Here I have a fantastic thing which will automate their job, get all the data, including capital calculation. They should love, right? They should jump for it. There was an CA conference in Kantiriva Stadium. We set up stall there, passionately spoke. 0. CAs are very comfortable to work with papers. They do not want to change. At least that time. Approach banks. I had a fantastic team, about 15 people. None of these are causing any frustration to them. One thing failed, jump to the another one. Let's try. Okay? It is such a fantastic environment where they are passionately working almost full time, having fun after office hours, and always thinking of how to approach customers. So, bank. We approached ICICI Bank. You have a money management portal, we have a good one. So we competed against another giant actually from US and unfortunately lost that. So that also did not work. We attempted value-added services, including income tax return filing. Now since entire data is there, I can create the ITR1, ITR2 forms for filing. For business, it's little complicated, but if required, we can also do that. So this is easy, right? Let's do that. Form 16, just upload, your job is done. Form 16 is when you work what you get from your employer at year end. So we built all that. We tied up with a company who is authorized to do tax filing. So we do everything. We even fill up the ITR1, ITR to create an XML file, and they just have to do filing. How do you get the users? Again, ads. Okay? And what do? They come, they file. Good. After a few months, when they started getting, a few of them started getting notice from the income tax department, section 143(1). It is not matching with so and all. Then they blamed us. Okay? It's that they had multiple steps where they review this, check, is everything okay? Yes, no, are you sure? Yes, but still. And they expect us to do CA job at 99 rupees for filing, doesn't work out. We tried for 2 years, this also failed. I think by then we probably crossed Robert Bruce, but anyway, you cannot give up. Attempt white label offering. PFM is a fantastic thing. Your bank doesn't have one. Bajaj Finserv, Kotak. We had 2 gentlemen, high net worth individual from Dubai who came. They wanted to launch a PFM in Dubai. Good. We have the right thing for you. Yeah, I'll change it a bit. I'll put your logo here, and for Dubai, okay, we will automatically support all banks in Dubai. Okay, and the typical whatever documents that you need. And in Indian case, Kotak, we created a kotakmoneyhutch.com separate site and all that. So good, all started. We got 3 customers, and we are getting some steady revenue per month. But they also figured out PFM doesn't work beyond a point. So unfortunately, all of that closed down. The average life of those sites was about 2 to 2.5 years. Last resort, offered to competitor. There's a huge corporate giant. I won't name it, but they had their own PFM. They had everything what we did not have, from the money, the power, reach. They are offering lifetime subscription. They tied up with Google, had lots of road shows. They are offering cars to individuals' houses. They'll pick them up, bring to their office, listen to this pitch. We'll drop them back. We couldn't compete. Surprisingly, they approached us. They said the data engine that we're using from a US company, they are too costly. So we want to use your one, and you are already proven in India. There's nobody else in India. who can provide support to 80 banks automatically getting it, right? 500 plus PDF bank statements and so many others. The equity statements, credit card statements, everything. So you can provide the thing, and discussion started, and the things that we are not used to, audits, PwC people came with their 10-sheet Excel file and all the questions asked, like first time we are hearing them to struggle to answer. Anyway, we geared up, we could do, made multiple trips to Lower Pal and Mumbai to have a discussion. Finally did not work out because the money they were willing to offer, I remember that if we had to go for that, substantial number of our employees will get tied up to that. And they'll only pay for the first time. Subsequent year onwards is the AMC, which is insignificant amount. Doesn't work out. So he politely declined at that time. This company incidentally shut shop few years later. Lessons learned. 7 years over, and that's the state we are in. Monetization using PFM remains unproven. Even today, it remains unproven globally. Founders can make money by selling, not the company. Users are unwilling to pay for online services. Nobody blinks an eye to order for an 800 rupees pizza, but if they have to pay for a subscription fee, 500 rupees for a year, for service over the way, no way, right? 1% to 1.5% paid users among the, we got 6 lakh users, but with that kind of money, you just, if the user base is substantially large, let's say 20 million, right? There are potential some other avenues probably can open, but how do you get 20 million users, right? Imagine the money you need to spend on ads. It's a leaking bucket. You have to keep raising fund. You'll never be profitable, and the more users come, the more you leak, the more expenses come, and their only way out is to sell to some other company. We didn't want to build such a company. Corporate, and where we are pitching, and this is an important part, where we are pitching to corporate cost center, wellness, something good to have, right? In banks, it's a nice experience. None of these are linked to business. They have some budget, from that budget, they have to satisfy, they can bid down the price, that's good for them, but for us, that doesn't work. It's not linked to business. Now the next round of pivoting came. So we look back, what is that we have done till now? Now we built a fantastic data platform. We built a fantastic automation for so many Indian banks and other websites. Automatically get the statements, understand, and other countries too. And we do analysis, we understand the bank statements. In lending journey, when someone applies for loan, bank statement is a must. It can be 6 months, 1 year, it's a must. People used to go stand in the queue in bank, get the bank statement, ensure that they put a seal over it. Then either they'll go to some bank's lending office, or someone will visit home and deliver that and other documents. And will take 2 to 3 weeks. Completely manual processing by banks before the loan can be approved. Our engine gets the data in sometimes less than a minute. Yes, the analysis is required, right? Analysis is required to find out how much EMI one can serve, right? Analysis is required to find out the financial habits or even bad habits. Right? Alcoholic blows away large part of salary in ramionline.com. Okay? Sitting with 3 loans, ECS and the loans are bouncing. These are not the healthy candidates, even though earning good salary from a company. All these get exposed from bank statement. It's a gold mine. We just have to analyze it. We build the analysis. All you have to do is to prepare a beautiful report. We did that. reoriented. That worked like a charm. Bajaj Finserv was the first customer, Kotak followed suit, and they showed less than 2 minutes, end to end. If the lender wanted, they could have disbursed the whole money, the loan part in their bank account within the day or sometimes within the next hour. Well, they do some extra checks. So this was a disruption. But thankfully, no person was laid off in those banks, and it only improves the journey of the end users. Right? So the product that we built was Insights, completely online SaaS. We won't go and deploy it in any bank, on-premise. And the revenue model is we'll charge per transaction. We don't know, we do not want to know whether the loan is approved or not, but since we did our processing part, please pay us, let's say, 110 rupees per application, depending on the complexity. And business loans are very, very complex analysis, and we do all that. Slowly, transactions started improving. This was an easy sell. First of all, it's linked to business, right? Who are the people we talk to in all the lender? The business group. Tell them, look, you are getting so many users and so many customers who get loan from you. And because you do manual processing, do this and you can serve 3 times more. That pitch works well. So initially the NBFCs and then few private banks, and slowly others followed suit. Those online transaction is something we kept tracking. Like in the PFM days, we are tracking the subscriptions, right? It was doubling every month. Then it slowed down, but still it stabilized to 10 to 11% month on month, resulting to 2 to 2.5 times volume growth and corresponding revenue growth year after year. Continued for 10 years, except the first lockdown year. And today, the kind of volume that we reached is unthinkable. Per month, we serve 3.3 lakhs of successful loan applications. I'm sorry, it's 10 times, 33 lakhs, 3.3 is per day. Yearly coming to 4 crores of people who are getting loan through our system today. Okay? We expanded to other countries too, and Southeast Asia, at least from the banking side, is 5 years behind India. Of course, our success is largely due to the digital wave that got unleashed by the government, who was very, very supportive. Banks also got push. We hosted in a cloud, and we still host there. Until 2015, it's Govindarajan and one more junior salesperson who were traveling from Bangalore to Mumbai to meet the clients, take early morning flight, 3 meetings minimum per day, take late night flight and come back. Then we thought we need someone who is permanently stationed there in Mumbai because that's where the main business is. So we started looking for a person. It took 1 year for us to get a person, but we knew we got the right person. This man is a banker. Typical bankers won't join our company. This person took risk in his life. There was a brief period when the country of Iran opened up because they said, I'm not going to build any nuclear. This person moved to Iran to check out a different career there, was there for 1 year. He is a risk taker, ideal guy that we need. Today he is the CEO of the company. So we said we have no money. Until then, we survived on some initial cash that Gobi and I infused. Then thankfully, we got 2 very nice gentlemen, the angel investors, the Mr. P.S. Pai of ex-Wipro fame and Mr. V. Chandrasekhar, who was also the CEO of Aztec Software, ex-iGate and Wipro. About 6 crores. With that, we survived. But now we need more money because there's an opportunity to grow very fast and we don't have money to grow that. we don't have money to open a proper sales office in Mumbai. So he asked this chief business officer to work from his home for 1 year until he figured out. In 2017, February, we got our first funding from Series A funding from Bessemer Ventures. They valued us at 115 crores and we got about $6 million. Enough. Get an office in Mumbai, okay? Start recruiting, expanding the sales team. Worked very well. The initial team was fantastic. I mean, the kind of motivation that they had. And also they tested success style. This product sells like hotcakes. There is a wow factor wherever you go. Started growing. We acquired a company called Fintech Labs in 2019 who had a platform. In 2019, November, Warburg Pincus invested in us and Mr. C.N. Ram came on board. Of course, we knew him as such an icon in the IT industry in India. We knew him for decades before that, but it was quite fortunate to have direct interaction with him. Warburg valued us at about 850 crores within 2 years, okay? 2.5 years. And they infused 50 million USD. In the next year, we started an offshoot company called Perfios Account Aggregation Services Limited to serve the NBFC-A segment, which is an RBI requirement. In 2022, we acquired a company called Karza Software, who had a fantastic product on KYC, video KYC and all that. They also have the data lake. Data lake they build by scraping and collating all publicly available data, which provides valuable information about the borrowers and the companies of individuals alike, about the information they are not disclosing, such as these are the litigations against them. This director is in the board of that company. This director is also in the board of this company, another company, that's the shell company. Okay, all these get exposed beautifully. These are the litigations going on, and whether there is a party or they're the accused, all this come up. So they are of 50% of our size. And for that, we needed Series C, again, existing investors. Bessemer Ventures and Warburg Pincus pitched in. We are valued at 3,500 crore. And we got just enough money to buy Karza. Last year, October, we are valued at about 7,500 crore, and we got 229 million US dollar. That's from Kedara Ventures. As I'm speaking, yesterday, we raised another round, $80 million, from Ontario Teachers Pension Fund. This is a Canada-based company. They don't usually invest in companies directly. They do through, they of course invest in Warburg and Kedara, but they don't invest directly. We are one of the very few companies that invested, and we didn't want this investment. We said, okay, we have enough money, please. No, you are going for IPO, so, please, and I need some primer and all that. So it worked out. With that, we reached the status of unicorn. Thank you. All along, we had to ensure that we are far ahead from competition, that we build the moat so that people cannot come anywhere near. There are smart people, there are smarter people than us in all companies, right? I should be scared of many of you guys, right? Someday you will disrupt, God knows which industry. So, what to do, what kind of things to build, constantly on our toes. Anyway, looking back, what worked for us? So technology innovation is the key differentiator. What we built was new in the market. We didn't do any market survey. We built, and there was an Y factor. And nobody could compete us for many, many years, even to come closer. Frugal financial management. It doesn't matter how much money we raise. Please ensure that your expenditures are managed properly. If you can travel by train, why take flight? Or if you can go by economy class, why take business class? Gobi made a trip to US. He bought the metro tickets and traveled in New York and San Francisco, those crazy places, crime-prone, at some odd hours, but he didn't get a car. So frugal management, this is what we preach all along, and that helped us. Take care of the employees. In both the companies we did that. We are called fools, so why you are giving so much of stock option to employees? Nobody else does that. No, we'll do. We did there, we did here. At every round, we tried to see that they redeem part of their ESOPs. Okay? This is the main attraction. And they saw the company grown 27 times in the matter of 3-4 years. Make it a family, right? Senior employees part of the decision making. They shouldn't be order takers. Customer delight, no matter what, ensure that you may be doing something for which you are not paid off. You may think you are doing consultancy for which Accenture's and McKinsey's charge probably $300 an hour. Please do, because this is essential for business, essential for customer delight. And close observer to market dynamics. Never sit idle. As I mentioned, the integrity value system, these are not compromisable. In both the companies we did that, and there are examples of what we did to violators. Employees must be benefited. They should share your success. So I echo whatever I heard when the workshop started. It's only the paranoid can survive, right? There is no relaxation point, no point. There are disruptors of different types are coming every time. There can be new regulations. This GenAI itself can be such a big threat. So either you face threat from competition or you ride on it and see how you can beat the competition. And if we take to newer geographies, there are different, the complexities that come. Each country is different. So no relaxation point. Yes, we tested success again. After a lot of failures, we didn't give up. My team did not give up, right? We ensured that they get salary, and we ensured that they get richly benefited later through ESOPs. So all this worked well. God's grace, we created good number of employments, and Sri Ram brought this, people factor here, and that's so important. The people are not with you, there is no success. So I'll stop here. Thank you, and if you have any question, I'll be happy to answer. Okay, you can contact me later. I'll also leave my coordinates. Okay. Thank you. Glad to be in this campus. It's a beautiful campus, such a nice ambience for learning. Wish I could have one of my degrees here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful speech. An entrepreneur's path is never decorated with roses, but laid with thorns. We all should be prepared for personal sacrifices. Thank you, sir, for taking us through your professional journey, which is just studded with innovation and technology. We should be open to changes and challenges. Ups and downs are always there, but resilience ensures the sail when fueled by passion. The edifice of success is built on several building blocks. Each of this is a sound learning from a failure. I am pretty sure today, when we all look back in your journey, we all will appreciate the challenges which brought you here. Thank you once again, sir, for igniting all of us with inspiration. Now, I would like to call respected Vice Chancellor, sir, to offer a token of love to Shri C.N. Ram, sir. Now I would like to call respected Professor Pallav Barua to offer a token of love to Shri Debasish Chakravarti, sir, on behalf of Department of Management and Commerce. Now we will break for lunch and assemble back at 2 p.m. Thank you, Sairam.